Yeah, I love that fucking theme song. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Off the Ropes with John and Josh. I am Josh.
And I am tired of the charades. I am John.
All right. That's some charades. All right, everybody. So we are going to be getting into Payback. But before that, for episode number 14, we always love to start with a little thing we like to call Breaking Kayfabe. That's right. And because we're in Breaking Kayfabe, we're switching that little logo up there. Bam. Bam. It's over. Where is it? Over there. John, use your finger. Use your finger. I'm extending my finger into you. Oh, there it is. That sounded really weird. Forget I said that.
Well, you heard it there first, ladies and gentlemen. Josh fingered me.
All right, folks. So, yeah, I think we should just start hopping into this news. There's some interesting stuff that's been going on in the world of wrestling, a lot in the world of the WWE. So let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Seems that Vince McMahon is dropping the hammer on his superstars by saying that there will be no more third-party deals. He came out and made a statement. Actually, I think it was a letter to the superstars. Said, some of you are engaged with outside third parties using your name and likeness in ways that are detrimental to our company. It is imperative that these activities be terminated within the next 30 days, which will be October 2nd from the time that he put this letter out. Continued violations will result in fines, suspension, or termination of WWE's discretion. Then WWE came out and made a statement. Says, much like Disney and Warner Brothers, WWE creates, promotes, and invests in its intellectual property, i.e. the stage names of performers like The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, Roman Reigns, Big E, and Braun Strowman. It is the control and exploitation of these characters that allows WWE to drive revenue, which in turn enables the company to compensate performers at the highest level and establish partnerships with third parties on a company-wide basis rather than at an individual basis, which is, as a result, will provide more value for all involved. All right, John, that was a whole mouthful of stuff.
That was.
So I want to get your thoughts first on just on the whole thing in general, on Vince McMahon dropping a hammer like this. What do you think about that?
As to why all of a sudden he's dropping the hammer.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm assuming something happened. I don't know.
Something had to have happened.
I mean, I'm not. I don't really do cameo stuff. I'm not on TikTok or any of that, weird stuff. So I may have missed whatever it was.
Possibly.
That caused this, but yeah.
But I mean, either way, I mean, I don't really see where the issue is as long as it's not slanderizing the company.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Go out there. It's furthering their experience with the fans, and isn't that what the entire universe is supposed to be about? Is building fan relations to make us want to keep buying tickets and putting asses in those seats?
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree with that. I feel like if I'm going to try to play devil's advocate here, I feel like the only real reason I can see is because he doesn't want the WWE to look bad for any reason. Like, something could happen. Maybe somebody's making a video on Cameo or something, and it just comes off bad. I get it, but this is also coming from the company that doesn't provide health insurance, any of this other shit. You know what I mean? Like, who treats these wrestlers sometimes like employees and sometimes like contractors. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's when whatever suits Vince in that time is the way they get treated, and it's like, fuck you, dude.
Well,
like,
I mean, it's whoever's making them the money at the moment. That's what it comes down to.
Fair enough. I get that, but I don't know. It really sat with me the wrong way. The whole thing. I don't know. All right. So next up, Brock Lesnar. We both have had, our issues with Brock Lesnar.
Yep.
But he was at least a moneymaker.
Yep.
People loved You know, people, even though he would only show up like every couple months or whatever, people would fucking flock to it. Well, for some reason, I don't know what happened. I don't know if there's some sort of issue between WWE and Brock Lesnar, but all of Brock Lesnar's merchandise, as well as his superstar pages from both the WWE shop, WWE Euro shop, both those online stores have been removed. So, John, what do you think is going on here? Do you think that there's some sort of issue? Because if I'm not mistaken, I believe his actual like superstar page on WWE is still there. Like he's still listed as like an active superstar on the website.
I have no idea, but I heard rumors.
But the shop ones are gone completely.
I heard rumors that he has a new deal going with Bellator, and that he might be going back to MMA.
Okay.
I also heard a possibility. Now, mind you, I haven't given any research into any of these yet. So these are all just blanket sheet statements of like sheer rumors. So don't crucify me, people. But I also heard that there's a possibility that he might be going to AEW.
That would be interesting. I mean, that'd be a big get for AEW. Whew, just thinking about that would be huge for them, you know.
Absolutely.
Even though I've always had issues with him being like pretty much the ultimate part-timer, I still think that would be a huge get for them. And if they can get him to be more than just a part-timer, man.
Oh God, yeah.
I think
it
they
would
would
be
do some
an
good stuff
amazing
there.
thing if he jump ship. That could be a favor swayer right there.
Yeah, it'd be intense. All right. So our next story, we've got Rey Mysterio in the news here. Not for what you might think. Rey Mysterio will be starring in a new animated series for Cartoon Network. That's right. You heard me right. It says Rey Mysterio will tell the story of one of the most iconic luchadors, a figure admired by all and star of the ring, but he will also delve into a great secret. Unimaginable forces threaten our world and will be a fundamental part of the fight. When their number one fan discovers this secret, together they will immerse themselves in a world where the excitement and adrenaline of wrestling coexists with mystery, mythology, history, magic, and supernatural beings. This announcement arrived via Cartoon Network Day at the 2001 Pixel ATL Festival.
At the 2001?
No, I said 2000. 2000 Pixel ATL Festival. I mean, I'll watch this. I don't know about you, man. What do you think about Rey Mysterio animated series?
I might check it out once or twice.
I would totally check this out, man.
But you're a Ray Ray fan, like.
I definitely am. And I find it interesting, the idea of an animated series. You know what I mean? Like, yes, WWE has done lots of animated stuff, you know. They've worked with Scooby-Doo. They've worked with Flintstones. They've done all kinds of stuff like that. I have a couple of the Scooby-Doo WWE DVDs, you know.
Maybe.
And they've done their own animated stuff on the network. I was like,
maybe they're going to do animated for a couple of different reasons. One, if they do live action, they're risking Ray Ray getting hurt. We all know that he's accident prone. And two, you can record lines for TV shows over the road and just have them like electronically sent. Yeah.
It's definitely, it takes less time. You could, you know, be in the studio for a few days and knock out your lines, or, you know, maybe even a week, depending on how much they want to do all at once. And then boom, just be out of there. So I definitely think it's something that is beneficial for them, because it'll get that younger viewership in there.
Oh,
yeah. And it's easy, you know, when it comes, you know, in terms of that. I find it interesting though that it's going to be on Cartoon Network as opposed to on the WWE network.
Or
but you know, if they're
Netflix.
Yeah, you know, but you know, since they're branching out, hey, you know what? That works. I think that'll be interesting, and I'll definitely be sitting there. I mean, even if you don't watch it, I'll be watching it, and I'll be reviewing it whenever the hell this show drops. All right, so our next story, Jeff Hardy has officially revealed his Intercontinental side plates. Take a look at these beauties.
Hell yeah.
Look at that. Oh yeah, I can see it.
I love the J8. Like it's wait. What?
It's a gorgeous side plate. I mean, I would just get this side plate and hang it on my wall.
No.
I want to get this side plate and turn it into a belt buckle.
Oh God, that'd be awesome.
Right? It's pretty sweet. I dig it.
Honestly,
man.
I would just get that as like a fucking wall hanging.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I kind of want like just an art print of that, like drawn up, colored and stuff of that design.
Oh,
just think it would look really cool, man. I really dig it.
I mean, you know, I'm going to be excited. I mean, they were on SmackDown. He had them on his title on SmackDown. So,
yeah. All right. So these next technically 2 stories, a little bring it down a little bit.
Why
we had both The Rock and AJ Styles confirmed recently that they tested positive for COVID. With The Rock, it was him and his whole family, his wife and his 2 daughters. But they are on the other side of it now. You know, he went on and said that it was like one of the toughest battles he'd ever had to deal with. You know, and from I know people who have recently had it and had to deal with it, and it's not anything you want to mess with. You know, wear your masks, people. This is real, whether you want to believe it or not. It is, and it can affect anybody. You know, it really can. It affects kids to old people, everyone in between. Doesn't matter what you think, it's going to happen.
That's true.
And then, AJ Styles coming out and talking about it as well. Apparently, he was on his Twitch stream recently, and he revealed, because I guess someone in the chat was talking about the whole Rock thing and him revealing it. And so AJ Styles said, I also tested positive a couple of weeks ago, probably almost a month ago. He said, I feel for people who have to deal with this, but I got to say, I didn't have that many problems with it. So, it doesn't affect everybody as bad. But that's the thing. You never know how it's going to affect somebody. I knew somebody whose father died because of it, and it just happened like 2 weeks ago. He got it 2 weeks later, gone, and he wasn't like a super old dude or something. He was probably in his, I don't know, 60s maybe, and not these days, that's not really all that old.
No.
And so like this is it's a thing, you gotta do it. You gotta wear those masks, gotta deal with it. And
as much as people hate them, better play it safe than sorry.
Yeah. And let's see. The next story, I think this will be the last story that we will do before we get into the pay-per-view, because there are some stuff that we'll talk about when we talk about Raw and SmackDown. The Authors of Pain have been released from the WWE. John, any thoughts on this?
That eliminates a lot of people's rumors that AOP was going to be joining up with Roman.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, sad. I'm not really sad that they're gone. I didn't like AOP.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have anything bad to say about their in-ring work. I just thought that they were definite freaking Shield ripoff. They wore almost similar gear. They fought big. I mean, like, yeah, it's a loss. I mean, God, it's sad, but I'm not going to cry about it.
Yeah. I was like, oh, wow, okay. I mean, I guess they're just still cutting, trimming the fat, I guess you could say, over there at the E. But it was just, I guess the thing about it was, I honestly forgot about them.
Well, because what I mean? One of them got hurt, and they took both of them for it.
And then it's just like, oh, they got released. I was like, oh, shit, they were still there?
Yep.
That was really my thought process behind it all. So, all right. So, that's really all I've got for Breaking Kayfabe. Do you have any other news stories you'd like to touch on before we move on? All right. So, it is officially time to move on. There we are.
Shifted into turbo.
That's right. And for all you out there, if you've got any questions or comments you'd like us to address on air, please just drop into the comments, whether you're on Facebook or in the live.
We have live
over on YouTube. Please make sure to do that.
Any comments on the shareholders meeting?
Shareholders meeting. See, I haven't seen that. I think let me double check what I had over here. John, do a little talking for me while I look at this real quick.
I mean, thank you guys for tuning in. I didn't even know there was a shareholders meeting. It's actually really nice that we've got an actual comment for once. Josh is going to do the research because, yeah,
keep talking.
Okay, so let's let's have some fun. I know this was going to get mentioned at the end of the night, but since we got to fill some time anyway, let's talk about the fact that AEW, what is it tonight, Josh? All Out? Is that the name of the pay-per-view?
Yeah, All Out.
All Out is happening right now as we talk. Now, I don't want any of you to persuade, like, leave and go watch that. But, I mean, yeah. We'll get to see Brody Lee. We'll get to see Orange Cassidy, Chris Jericho. Probably get to see the Best Friends. I mean, where's Trent? AEW.
Yeah, see, I'm not seeing anything about the shareholders meeting specifically. If you got any kind of sites for that, let me know. And I mean, if we find something,
we're asking for our comments on the shareholders meetings, and sadly, I am uneducated completely as to how the shareholders meetings actually go down. I would love to buy some share in the network, and I would love to walk in there and give him a piece of my mind.
Yeah,
but I don't. But I would love to.
All right. Sorry, my 5-year-old came out of her room, so I was
okay, bro. It's the joys of being live.
That's true. That is true. All right. So, actually, yeah. Okay. Thank you, Faith. All right. So we are going to hop into. That's right. The joys of going live on this. You gotta love it.
Absolutely.
With a 5-year-old who doesn't want to go to sleep.
We're gonna shift into last Sunday, and we're gonna talk about WWE's Payback.
All right, so we are going to start off with the kickoff show. John, did you watch kickoff show? I know you are famously known for not watching kickoff shows.
I will say this: I watched the kickoff show, and my first note is about. Let's talk about this for a second before we get to the actual match on the kickoff show.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the R-Truth segment for a second?
Oh, man, that R-Truth segment was amazing.
You thought it was amazing?
I loved it. It was so funny to me.
Oh, dude.
He just came out. He thought he was on Raw Talk.
Like, I get it. His gimmick is funny, but all they managed to do was fucking ruin everything that they had rolling for momentum at that point. They made him look like a complete fucking idiot.
Dude, they make him look like that all the time.
It was way worse at the pre-show. Like, they're like, and then Booker would be like, oh, it's next week. And then the other guy's like, oh, it's tomorrow. It's like, if you guys are going to play the fucking stick, get it right. All you guys managed to do was fucking make that look like shit.
Yeah.
That whole segment smelled like the Cleveland Browns play.
Fair enough.
But let's talk about the pre-show match.
All right.
We saw the Riot Squad taking on Iconics.
All right.
Josh hates the Iconics.
Well, dive into it, Johnny boy. I'd love to know what you had to think.
Honestly, I was really impressed with this match overall. I was really glad to get to see the Iconics getting to do some great teamwork. There was a lot of frequent tags from them. Thought this match had kind of a slow pace to start. I mean, it picked up about halfway through, and it definitely ended with a bang. Overall, though, I mean, I'm not quite sure how I feel about the Riot Squad being back together completely, because I liked Liv Tyler by herself, and I understand Ruby Riott was out of action with an injury. I know she had to have her shoulder repaired. I think it was both of her shoulders had to be repaired. But at this point in time, I'm like, all you're doing is taking away all that momentum that Liv Morgan did by herself, and now you're putting her back in a tag team, and she's not going to get the stardom she was going to get. So I'm like, well, fuck you, WWE.
Well, the way I look at it is, yeah, you can kind of look at it as maybe they're ruining her singles run or whatever. However, I also it makes me a little bit hopeful that they might start kind of working their tag team division a little bit better. Maybe I'm just too optimistic about it.
Well, I will say this.
And I gotta say, I love them as a tag team, so I love seeing them.
I do. I mean, and I said I like that they worked and Iconics had frequent tags, but I like the way everything was played out. Like I said, I thought at the beginning of the match it was kind of slow, and then it kind of picked up a little bit. And
I get that. and there was a couple of almost botches, but
there was definitely botch in there. I will say this though, I do love that the Riot Squad being paired back up for only like a week at that point were already reuniformed.
Dude, I literally have that in my notes.
Yeah.
I literally wrote down, I love the Riot Squad's uniform colored gear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to ask you a serious question that I have in my notes right now. And this was based on just the pre-show match alone.
Okay.
Do you think the women's tag team division is ran better than the both men's tag team divisions?
Yeah. I do, actually.
Actually, I'll go back and say all three men's tag divisions,
including NXT.
I
do. I think, and whether it's quote unquote ran better, I think that it gets more of a push. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it gets a little bit more focus, and maybe that's because Bayley and Sasha they were they're pretty big up in the division, and with them being the champs for so long. I feel like that could be part of it. I guess we'll have to see if that continues.
Yeah.
But I do think that we get better quality stuff out of the women's tag team stuff. Yeah, and maybe it's because they're focusing more on it. I don't know, but yeah, it does seem that way. Yeah, it definitely does seem that way.
Now, this match obviously saw the pickup win from the Riot Squad, which rightfully so. I think they deserve that win.
Yeah. I thought it was a pretty damn good match. I thought it was solid for a pre-show match.
Yeah.
Unlike the last SummerSlam's pre-show match, which I was not a fan of, and gave it the worst match of the night when we did that review.
Yeah.
Just because, luckily it was just a pre-show match. It didn't really matter, but I did like this one. I thought they did a really good job with it.
I completely agree with you.
And then they stopped by the tables after, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Pretty much announcing that they're back.
Yeah, officially announced that they are back, and we'll talk about it later. But we do lose. We are losing a tag team because of stuff that happens later on in the week from there.
Yeah.
And yesterday, if you guys watched SmackDown, you will know exactly what we are talking about. But so that was the pre-show. Nothing too crazy happening there. I will say this: I kind of love that they pretty much start off the pre-show talking about Roman Reigns, right, and re-showing that clip of him coming back and meeting up with Paul Heyman. And I gotta say, man, Roman Reigns as a Heyman guy, I dig it. I dig it a whole lot. It was my favorite thing to see coming off of that. Yeah. And honestly, we'll talk more about it when we get into that match, but it makes me wonder if this is tied to what the Brock Lesnar story that we talked about. Heyman needs a new guy, right? Lesnar's not there. Heyman needs a guy. All right. So now we're going to get into the main show.
Hell yeah.
And we start off the night with our very first match, Apollo Crews versus Bobby Lashley for the United States title. John, what are your thoughts on this match?
Well, I was very glad to start with the updated U.S. title graphic.
Yeah.
I had mentioned on SummerSlam that they were still using the old graphic, and they updated the graphic. That made me happy to start.
Yeah.
One of the big notes I had for this match was I thought a lot of this match took place outside the ring way more than it should have. Like, this isn't a fun anywhere match. This wasn't a last man standing match. But there was a lot of, Lashley would get Apollo out of the ring, and then he'd work the 10 count. And then
I think it helps to push Lashley as a heel, and it also helps to kind of show strength, because they can do a bit more damaging stuff outside the ring and show that power where you're lifting somebody up and running into a pole with them, into the post with them. So they can do stuff.
I feel like when something like that is done, and I understand this is a title match, but I feel like every once in a while a ref should call for the bell.
I get it.
Oh my God, you just chucked somebody into a pole. That's a weapon. It's more an object. Disqualification.
I'd love to see that happen
Otherwise,
more
the ref
often.
is like, hey, Lashley, that was really nice. Hey, by the way, 8, you're at 8. Get in the ring. Maybe bring
Yeah.
it down. Okay, good. Yeah, you got that? Okay. I thought
Yeah.
this had some nice back and forth work in it. Like,
Yeah.
Lashley would start going. Apollo would try to get his hope spot. Lashley would cut him off.
Yeah.
I thought this match went a little bit longer than it should have because Lashley was obviously very dominant in this match.
Yes.
But overall,
He was.
I thought it was okay.
Yeah, he was very dominant in the match. However, Apollo was still fantastic. You know,
He was.
he showed not only power but agility. Like when he came off and did that kip up, dude, that was pretty sick. I gotta say that like rollout kip, it was good stuff. I will always say this: Apollo is the better version of Bobby Lashley. He is.
At least when
he just is. He's so much better.
Where is this going?
Yeah.
Like, every time Lashley starts talking, I'm like, somebody just shut him the fuck up. Like,
yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna come at you and I'm gonna beat you up and blah 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 blah. I'm the strongest dominant guy there is on the roster, blah 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 blah. I'm like, no.
Yeah, and no Paul Heyman.
Nope.
Just saying.
Nope.
He's just not. Like, he's a good manager, but he's no Paul Heyman.
That's true. So. But in the end, Lashley gets the pinfall and new United States champion.
Yep. I was not a fan. I thought the whole ending to this match was just BS.
I mean, of course it was, but I mean, they're building towards a bigger story, bro.
Yeah, but to make Apollo tap out like that and quickly, it wasn't like he held it in, he was holding it in, he's struggling. No, he locks it in, and then he just taps out. I'm just like, are you fucking serious? This dude has been showing strength throughout the whole fucking match.
I know.
It's bullshit.
I know.
It's like you just took a big giant dump on your former champion. Like,
yeah.
Like, fuck you. Fuck Bobby Lashley. Didn't care for him when he first came in way back in the day. Don't really care for him now. Just saying. Whatever. Anyways.
The second match of the night saw Sheamus taking on Big E.
Yeah, but there was some stuff before that, John. Usually you're the one who writes all this stuff down. And yet, now it is my turn. So in between these matches, we got Keith Lee in the back working out, doing his thing. JBL comes in. You know, Keith kind of gushes a little bit over him. Then JBL hands him this, like, business card or some shit. Says it's for some hedge funds. He says, $1 million to get in. And I'm just like, what? And then he says, you know, he talks to him a little bit more. And he's like, and if you do lose this match, don't feel bad. Because Orton is one of the greats. And I'll be honest, to me, this felt like JBL was like low-key mocking Keith Lee. I don't know about you, but that's what it felt like to me.
Could have been. I mean, I didn't quite get that feel. I did think he was making fun of him, but I thought at the same time when he said to Keith Lee, you know, if you lose tonight, don't feel bad. Orton's one of the greats. I thought that was a nice way of being like, look, kid, you've got the potential to be this guy. But right now, Orton is in the zone, and Orton is untouchable. Like,
yeah, maybe. I still think he was being JBL, as you may say.
I mean, fair. Okay, so let me ask you this: is that promo the same as Triple H walking in with the shovel and handing it to Keith Lee and going, "Here you go"?
Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just telling you how I feel, sir.
I get it. I'm just telling you, I didn't quite see that promo that way. I saw it as like tonight just might not be your night. Political.
Maybe. But that tied with the whole hedge fund thing. I just don't know. It's like, if you work hard, you'll get there. Yeah. I was like, I don't know. It's just all together. And because it's JBL and it's kind of the way he is, that's where my mind went with it. But is what it is. So yes, like you were saying, our next match is Sheamus versus Big E. We haven't seen these guys on a pay-per-view, and fuck, I don't even know.
Dude, I was thinking that same thing when this match started.
I'm pretty sure since we've restarted Off the Ropes, we have not seen them on a pay-per-view. They have not been on a pay-per-view since before WrestleMania, if I'm as far as I can remember.
I don't really remember either, but I think it's kind of sad that, Sheamus coming off the bar and Big E coming off New Day and everybody being hurt over there, and this is what it's boiled down to. And I think it's kind of cool that they mentioned that in the match. Like, there was talk about how both of these guys know each other so well.
Yeah.
And again, this match started out with some really hard-hitting action. And those blows were like, damn.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, there are times where I'm like, damn, it looks like Sheamus is working kind of stiff here.
I thought the same thing.
Like, there were a couple of shots that looked like he fucked up Big E's face, man. Like that elbow drop.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, man. I'm like, Jesus Christ, did he just fuck his face? I was expecting to see, like, broken face, man.
I noticed that this match, just like the opening match, saw a lot of outside the ring action again.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, well, there's a pattern already starting in tonight. We're going to spend a lot of time outside the ring, apparently.
Yeah, apparently.
But I thought it was really cool because both men looked extremely strong in this match.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, like, Big E had his dominance, and Sheamus, like you said, he was working stiff.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. The problem is, I don't think the match was. I mean, it was the way I wrote it in my notes. I was like, this match was okay.
Yeah, this match wasn't everything I would have wrote home about.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a bad match. It was just there. It felt kind of like a filler match. Yeah, really.
I was just gonna say, it felt like a match that wasn't like meant to happen. It was like, hey, by the way, you guys are gonna go out there. You gotta have like this 20-minute match, and everybody's like, well, shit, what do we do now?
However, that suicide dive was pretty sick.
Oh, no doubt,
dude.
No doubt.
It was good. I like that. At least, it's an okay match, but at least we got at least one good spot, like that, one real, like, that stuck out. At least we got that. So we see Big E taking home the win here. I got to say, I am happy to see Big E win. It helps with this push that they're starting with him, since both Xavier and Kofi are out right now. So it's just Big E holding down the New Day. And did you notice that in his music, he changed his music up a little bit?
I did not.
And instead of like crying out to WWE, he says ThunderDome at the beginning instead. Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool that they made that a thing. Buddy of yours saying hello.
See, we get some live action going, and people are actually commenting and stuff. It's amazing how that works. And yes, the big dog is back, and we will be talking about that in a little bit, Joe.
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
So
the next match, we want to talk about the backstage.
The backstage, definitely, because some of it does tie into the next match. So we get Matt Riddle backstage being interviewed, and I gotta say, bro, this motherfucker looked high as fuck.
Dude, I have comments about that in my.
Yeah, so he looked high as fuck. And my other note about this part, I find it interesting that they're leaning into the controversy with Matt Riddle, with Corbin saying that Riddle's a failure at home. So, what did you have what were your thoughts on this part of the backstage stuff?
Again, I thought he looked high as a kite.
Dude, he's so good.
I was like, man, if you put him and RVD in the same room together, it's hard to tell which one's holding the pot. Like,
yeah.
I mean, like, he was literally just like,
like, legit, man. Like, I don't know what was going on. I don't know if that's just him.
I think that's part of the gimmick, because there was a moment when he wasn't like the focus of the camera, and his eyes were open wide, and then they came back to him. He was like,
"Oh, okay." I mean, I could see that. I can see that.
They're both. They're both holding. So let's talk about this match. Okay.
Okay.
So King Corbin taking on Matt Riddle. And now, my first comment.
What was his name? The Ultimate Bro or something like that?
The Ultimate Bro. Now, here's my first comment that I have written down about this match. Okay. Corbin's still fucking employed? Haven't seen him since Mania.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
And now all of a sudden he's working a program with Matt Riddle, the original Bro.
Yeah, I saw this match come up. I was like, oh, okay. I'm not that interested in it. And I'll be honest, it was kind of boring. for a lot of this match.
I said the same thing. This match, again, a lot of time spent outside of the ring. And yeah. I'm like, by match 3, I'm like, come on, guys, you got to stop doing this shit. Like, I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I thought that Matt Riddle had real RVD vibes with his entrance and shit, like the kicking the shoe. Well, I mean, I know RVD didn't take his shoes off. I know when he first started wrestling, he did the tape feet thing like Rusev did. Okay. But once he started wearing boots and stuff, I mean, he didn't come kick it. But I felt like Matt Riddle could be like a better version of Rob Van Dam.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I thought there was a lot of strong work from Corbin in this match, too. Like, Corbin looked good.
Yes. Okay. And so that's something I want to talk about. I think Corbin looked too good in this match.
Really?
Because they made Matt Riddle look super weak.
I thought the
majority of this match. And then for him to pick up the win, I was like, it didn't feel believable to me.
I don't feel like his finisher fits him either. That flipping thing he does off the turnbuckle.
It's a corkscrew senton. It's a swanton, but it's a corkscrew.
I was just like, it looks pretty, but it doesn't fit him. Like he's a tall.
I don't really know a lot about Matt Riddle. I'll be totally honest.
All right, let's do this.
About him.
Let's do this, ladies and gentlemen watching live. What can you tell us about the original bro, Matt Riddle?
Yeah, let us know your thoughts. Let us know your thoughts on this match. But yeah, like he did that move. I was like, oh, that was sweet. I dug it.
Good. I just
looked real good.
A tall, lanky guy. Like if Ricochet or like Seth Rollins pulled that out.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think that bothered me because it's not like it's Big Van Vader doing a corkscrew over here. True. You know what I mean? But like hell, you see Big Van Vader doing a fucking shooting star and shit like that. So
we have a question
or a moonsault. I mean, we do have a question. Let's see what we got. Joe says, you may have touched on this, but what are your thoughts on Keith Lee coming to the main roster? And what about Braun having a slight personality change? The Keith Lee thing, I believe we talked about during SummerSlam.
We did, and we touched on it a little bit here
because he debuted on Raw that after SummerSlam, if I'm not mistaken. And so I dug it. I dug it a lot. I love Keith Lee. I liked him in NXT. I was happy when he became the double champ. So I was actually thrilled when I was bummed when he gets the 2 belts and then a month later he has no belts, but then suddenly he's back. He's up on main roster, which makes sense because that's the way they do their thing. So yeah, I loved it. So I'm actually really glad, and I think working a program with Orton is probably the best thing for him.
Absolutely, it's going to put him on like the main he's going to be that blip on the radar.
Yeah, and obviously we'll talk more about that him and Orton when we get to that match. But yeah, I love it. I love that. And
as for the personality change in Braun,
makes sense.
I think that was actually well needed for him.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He was getting really fan friendly for a while there, where everybody was like Braun Strowman. But if you're going to push him as one of the top, like he can be the face, he can be the heel. He's got to have that moment where he's like, I am all about the business at hand, and that is exactly what we were seeing from him.
That's
true.
He
won the Universal Championship. He got the Universal Championship. The Fiend was playing his mind games.
Yeah, and that's what the Fiend does. He changes people.
Oh, God.
You want to talk about personality change? We'll get into it when we go through the match. But Alexa Bliss, just saying, we'll get into that more when we get there. But there's our thoughts. Yes, if you guys have any more comments, questions, anything like that, feel free to drop it in the comments, and we will definitely address that.
All right. So obviously, Josh already had said Matt Riddle picked up the win.
Yes.
So,
and like I said, he looked weak that whole match.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, he actually got the win, and he did it with finishers. Like it wasn't just like like some sort of accidental win. Like I was like it just didn't feel believable to me, No. It felt like they wanted Corbin to look real strong, and maybe I don't know if they were like trying to like screw with Matt Riddle a little bit. but still give him the win. I don't know. The whole thing just felt off to me.
I mean, I thought the same thing though.
And then the match wasn't even like, I mean, the match was done, but it wasn't really done because after the damn commercial break, we go backstage and Corbin's still beating the shit out of Matt.
Oh yeah, which I thought was overkill at that point.
Yeah. It's like I understand why they did it after the commercial break because they had to get back there, but
yeah,
it's like we do this little commercial break and then it's like, oh wait, they're still fucking fighting. Like, what is going on here?
Yeah,
why? But yeah, so we're gonna get into our next match, which was an upgrade from the previous one. Bayley and Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, one of the weirdest tag teams.
Well,
maybe it's not. Maybe it's not weird to some people. It just seems weird because
that's something I actually want to address. Look at Chad's comment down there
for the women's tag team.
I would love to address for a minute before we actually. There is no selling in modern wrestling, and that is one of the things that as I watch SmackDown, I'll touch on that when I go over a couple things that I noticed, and I was having a huge issue with because I'm like, if you get super kicked in the face, you should at least go to like a knee, if not like bounce backwards at the ropes. But you should definitely sell it. There's no point in ever getting kicked in the face and just being like, "Oh, what, man? What? You kicked me?"
Yeah, just ask our friend Adam. When you get kicked in the face, you know it.
Chad knows Adam.
Oh no, shit.
See together.
Yes, awesome. Yeah.
All right. So back to the matches at hand. Sasha Banks and Bayley taking on the new tag team of Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler.
Yes. As I like to call him, Jaysler.
Ooh, that's a good name.
Jackson
Baszler. Mom's last name.
What?
It's your mom's last name.
It's not my mom's last name.
Isn't it?
It's J-Zack.
Oh, what's close?
Oh, you funny bitch.
All right. So if you'd excuse me for just one moment, if I can be serious for a moment, and you can cue me up, because I got to say, let me tell you something, brother. I was super excited for this match once this match actually kicked off. I was really impressed with the fact that Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, two people who I typically hate, could come together and make a somewhat functioning tag team and go up against somebody like Sasha Banks and Bayley and still make it look like the champs had a chance.
It's true. Yeah. I literally put in my notes, I am not a fan of Nia or Shayna. But Shayna impressed me here.
Yeah. Now, the big note that I have here, and you can yep. The big thing that I'm gonna point out here, and not to give away the ending, but can we talk about how for the first time ever, I have seen somebody lock somebody in a submission and use their own tag team partner against them?
Hey, I mean, it was pretty awesome.
That was phenomenal.
I gotta say, and that's the thing that really impressed me with Shayna Baszler was that ending double submission move. Like it was something good, man. What do we got over here? Two decent wrestlers, one controversial wrestler, and an accident waiting to happen. I like it.
Calling Sasha Banks an accident waiting to happen. Not fair. We know that the two decent wrestlers were Shayna and Nia Jax. I will say this. I honestly could not believe that Nia Jax worked as well as she did. Yeah. And didn't hurt somebody.
Yeah, no. She was a little slow. I noticed like there were some points during this match where I'm like, geez, she's working real slow.
Oh yeah. And I thought that too. And I have that in my notes that I thought out of the four of them, she was obviously the wink link, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I don't know what the issue was. I don't know if
without trying to be mean.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know. They need to bring back the hot tag buildup. You know what? I dig the hot tags.
I mean, tags are great. I mean, maybe not in this match specifically, but I know during it's either Raw or SmackDown, there was a really great hot tag moment where, you know, the ring had been isolated for most of the match, and then the tag finally happens, and then the other one cleans house. But what a lot of people don't understand is when you're working a hot tag into the match, it's not just about getting the hot tag. It's about selling the hot tag and making it look legit without putting somebody else too far under, because you got to understand, like, you come in and boom, there's a clothesline. Boom, there's another clothesline. Those guys have to get back up and make it look like you didn't just hit them with a clothesline from hell.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I get that.
So, I mean, you can fire up and you can have that moment, but at the same time, what I would love to see in a great hot tag is, you know, somebody comes in, boom, there's a clothesline. You're coming for the other person, they pick you up, boom, spine buster. Still get the hot tag moment, but it's still cleaned up at the end.
Yeah, I dig that. I like that a lot. Yeah, I feel like they don't utilize it often. I mean, maybe that's so, you know, it doesn't get stale, but just in general. Yeah. But yeah.
What do you think about the ending of this match overall?
I mean, like I said, I loved the double submission and everything.
I mean, that was interesting double submission too.
Yeah. I didn't have a problem with how it ended. I really didn't. I was like, oh shit, okay. And we've been calling this for weeks.
Oh yeah.
That they're gonna split up. And we'll talk about it more when we talk about SmackDown.
Yep.
But this just cemented it for me as I was watching it before I knew what happened on SmackDown, that this was going to be the end of Sasha and Bayley, because, I mean, fuck, Sasha went from 2 belts to no belts in literally 1 week.
Yep.
You know?
Now, the other big note I have up for this match was way better than I expected it to be.
Dude, I'll be honest, I kind of thought that this was going to wind up being my worst match, just because you know how I do not like Shayna Baszler, and I'm not a big fan of Nia Jax, and I'll be honest, I'm not really the biggest fan of Sasha.
That's fair.
You know, like she's a good worker, I just don't like her. You know what I mean? But surprisingly, I actually enjoyed this match quite a bit. You know, yeah, I thought it was very well done. And we have new tag team champs.
Yeah,
you know, Nia Jax and freaking Shayna Baszler. And I gotta say, Nia's enthusiasm after winning was kind of awesome. I kind of loved it. Like, she was legit super excited to have won this. So I don't know what your thoughts on that were, but I thought it was great.
I mean, it was what it was. I get being excited for winning a title.
Yeah, an MMA fighter bringing something to the product other than legitimacy. Yeah, we have talked a lot about UFC people and whatnot coming over to the WWE and not doing what they should be doing. I think that Shayna has realized after losing her push that she needs to do something a little different.
And I definitely agree with that, because I'm definitely seeing a different side of her.
Yeah, she needs to show more respect to the company.
And the people who paved the way for people like her.
Exactly. And I think you can still keep that gimmick and that character, but you've still back in the backstage and whatnot. You've got to you've got to show respect, and you've got to show that you actually are trying to be a wrestler and not an MMA fighter. You know, you got to make that effort. And I feel like over the last few months, I've seen a noticeable difference. So I would not be opposed to seeing her. I mean, we're going to see her next pay-per-view since they're the champs, you know, unless something happens in between. Other than that, I think, yeah. All right. So yes, my love, off to bed with you. I know. So we have our next match, and that is Keith Lee versus Randy Orton. So, John, tell me, Keith Lee, Randy Orton, what are your thoughts here?
I have 2 notes about this match.
Okay.
We got some really great vintage Orton out of this match. Like, I was like, holy fuck, this Orton is legit A1 fucking steak sauce.
Hells yeah, he is.
However, the chops from Orton to Keith Lee, I was like, welcome to the fucking business.
Like, seriously. Dude, he was, man.
And then Keith Lee gave him a fucking receipt, and they actually called it a receipt.
I love when
commentary say that.
I love when commentary kind of like breaks the
kayfabe,
man.
That's a receipt.
Yeah, I love it when they break the kayfabe. You know, when it comes to stuff like that, it's kind of cool. But dude, yeah, you say Orton, man, but Keith Lee was a fucking beast in this match.
He was beast. I thought this match went a little slower than it could have, knowing that Orton can move and Keith Lee can move. This match was okay, but it wasn't like I was like,
It was short, in my opinion.
It was.
I thought it was kind of short, but yeah, I mean, I thought it was solid. It was a solid match, you know, better than some of the other matches that we saw today.
That's agreeable.
Yeah, but yeah, you know, Keith Lee just took it to Orton, and he took home the win here. You know,
that shocked me. I'm very shocked that they put Keith Lee over Orton.
I'm not, just simply because I think they see something in him and they really want to make a push with Keith. You know what I mean? Yeah. And Orton can his career can sustain a loss like that. You know what I mean? It's not gonna do anything, especially because this feud ain't over. You know what I mean?
Far from over. Far from over.
You know, I mean, he was ready to fucking Orton was ready to punt Keith Lee, man. That was sick, and then didn't get to it.
Nope.
So I see some backstage attacks coming. You know, sneaking around under. I wouldn't be surprised if Orton hides under the ring during a match. Pops out an RKO
on the trunk of a car.
Yes, and then hits on his daughter. Joe says Keith Lee is a big man who can move and is very agile. What legend does that sound like?
Well, in my personal opinion, it sounds like Big Van Vader. I'm thinking that's where Joe was going with that. Because it's Tom. It's Tom. It is Vader Tom.
I mean, fucking giant, big old dude who's over here doing moonsaults, man. I love that.
And this is just a side note. And I love doing live because of this. I love that we can like have these outside things thrown in here and make stories better. You want to see some interesting stuff. Look up Hulk Hogan's time in Japan. Hulk Hogan doing things in Japan that he wasn't doing here in the States. Taking arm drags and like real big bumps and stuff like that. It's impressive stuff. Same with Yokozuna.
Being racist. Oh, wait, that's something he already does here.
Oh, man.
Oh, damn. Okay.
So let's talk about the next match of the night.
Well, before we get to that, we saw Paul Heyman backstage.
Oh, yes.
You know, he gets asked if Roman has signed his contract and whether or not he'll be there tonight. Apparently, as I'm watching, obviously, since we've watched it, we know what happens.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, shit, he hasn't fucking signed the damn contract yet. Where are they going with this? You know, it really made it what happens in the actual match.
Yeah.
I was like, I feel like it was a really well worked story. You know what I mean? I don't know about you. I know this was just a little tiny thing that happened, but I don't know. I thought it really kind of helped to mold this story that they're shaping for.
Well, that's it. I love during the pre-show they were doing the build-up. Yeah. And McMahon doing the whole go get these signatures.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. We got where his finish was the axe bomber. Everyone kicked out of that leg drop. Yeah.
Leg drop.
Leg drop. Oh man, my internet lagged and then it dropped. But yes, we are going to get into our next match. Another tag team match, but this time for the men. This was Seth Rollins and Murphy versus Rey and Dominic Mysterio. I gotta say, I have really enjoyed what they're doing with this program.
Oh, absolutely.
This, even if you only watch the pay-per-views, you really get like a pretty full view of this story being told over the last couple of months or whatever. You know, I feel like, because I'm not always keeping up on Raw and SmackDown as much as I probably should, but just from what I've seen throughout the pay-per-views, like I feel like I got a good solid solid foundation for what is going on in this storyline, and you don't get that a lot.
No.
You know, that does not happen a lot. And so I was actually really, really happy to see just how well they've been handling this whole storyline. John, what are your thoughts on this storyline and then this match in general?
Well, my thoughts on the storyline are actually pretty similar with yours. Like, I'm really impressed with the build-up. I'm really impressed with the storytelling. I knew Dominic was going to have it in him to be able to carry a feud like this.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Man.
My thoughts on the match, though. First off, I'm really glad that Dominic took your advice. He lost the hood.
Yes. Yes.
Because
I have it in my notes. Yes.
Yeah, I have it in my notes too. Because I was like, oh, he listened to Josh. Look at that. I thought this match was really phenomenal. It went at a really fast pace. I thought the match was actually really good, and it was brutal.
Oh, dude, it really was. I mean, and we were seeing good stuff from all 4 competitors.
Yeah.
Like, everybody was on their fucking game during this match.
I feel like they knew they had to make the elevation go back up because they knew that, like the first off, they're the second to main event. Like, they had to get the crowd, and they knew that the rest of the show had pretty much been like kind of lackluster at this point.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you watch the first half of this event, man, it was honestly the first half was kind of boring. Really, it really was.
Now, I have to really say, my favorite part of this match, and it's a stupid thing. Dominic gets confused, and if you notice towards the end when he's going for the finish, I believe it's Rollins goes down. It's obviously the Rollins and Murphy, but one of the two goes down.
Rollins is outside the ring.
Okay, so it was Murphy.
Okay, so what happens? Rollins is outside. Dominic slides Ray out of the ring, and Ray does that sunset flip and puts Seth into the barricade, and then he goes up to do his stuff with Murphy there.
Did you notice that Ray or Dominic almost goes to the wrong corner for the frog splash?
Actually, I didn't notice that. No.
Yeah, I thought it was actually just kind of funny. Like he was in the moment, and he almost went to the far corner.
So was it on the non-hot side of the ring, like the far side?
If this is the 4 corners of the ring, okay, the big action takes place right here.
Yeah.
The guy goes like in this corner, and Dominic almost goes to this corner up here.
Oh, okay.
I'm just like, that would have been one fuck of a dive across the ring. He would have really had to have channeled Uncle Eddie.
Yeah. That would have been kind of awesome to see, but
yeah, I mean, Dominic and Ray pick up the win. I was actually really impressed with this match.
Something you did not mention. Let's talk a little about that kick.
Oh my God, the
Murphy kicks fucking Seth Rollins right in the face.
So first off,
obviously, it was an accident.
Oh, absolutely. But before, did you notice though that in 2K19, that's our tag team finish?
Yes. Yep.
Like,
it 100% is.
Yep. I was like, well, whatever.
But dude, I thought that whole like reversal into the kick and everything was like seamless. It looked great.
It did. It really did.
I thought it was fantastic.
Down to the second right. Otherwise, it just looked so bad.
Yeah. I thought they did a fantastic job with that.
Agreed.
And it definitely will lead to some stuff between the two of them. So, yeah. All right. But yeah, like you said, the Mysterios picking up the win here after Dominic makes the pin on Murphy. Good for him.
Oh,
he's doing a great job. I'm excited to see where he goes. All right. And then we have our final match of the evening, and that is the no-holds-barred match for the Universal Championship. What was touted as The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, versus Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns. But it does not start out that way.
No, it does not.
So Fiend comes out first, and I got to say, this is probably my favorite entrance and theme that's currently being used in WWE. I'm just saying. I don't know if there's anyone's that's being used right now that I like better. I don't know about you, but that's how I feel about it.
Dude, do you even have to ask?
I mean, maybe.
I mean, I think Drew Galloway has some good music.
It's true. It's true.
I won't take away his music, but
I also love Finn Balor's music, but it's the combination of the entrance and the music.
I was gonna say, man,
it's killer, man. It's killer. It's killer. I love it. And then Braun comes out, or he doesn't come out. He was apparently just waiting in the ring for him, because when the lights come, he just like takes him right out, and then the bell rings, and I'm just like, wait a minute, there's only two of them.
Yep.
But the bell rang. Huh. So this is where they're going with it. So we get to start it off. We get The Fiend and Braun Strowman duking it out here. And man, early on in this fucking match, Braun gets fucking slammed right through an announce table.
Yep.
And it was awesome.
It was beautiful.
We get all kinds of interesting stuff. Then at one point, okay, so I mentioned Alexa Bliss earlier. And she shows up twice in this via backstage, standing next to the monitor watching. I'm sure you noticed, but I'm going to bring it up anyways. They went super Harley Quinn with her.
They went back to her old gimmick.
But not just like the look. I'm talking about this whole pining over the Fiend, who is essentially the Joker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm just like, I don't 100% know how I feel about it. And what I thought was actually really funny is I'm sitting here watching it on the TV. My daughter, who's 5 years old, is on the floor playing. She looks up, sees her. She's like, Papa, is that Harley Quinn? And it was awesome. And I had already been like, made the note to myself about her, doing the whole Harley Quinn thing. And pining over the Fiend and whatnot. So, John, let's get your thoughts on this match.
Well, for the first time in history of Off the Ropes with John and Josh, I'm going to have Josh cue this up a second time, because I'm going to tell you something, brother. I loved this match for a multitude of reasons, not just because it's Bray Wyatt, and we all know that I'm on the bandwagon for the Fireflies. But let me tell you something. This match had great storytelling. Roman hadn't signed his contract. They'd made a lot of notes of that. You knew going into this match that he hadn't signed it. So like Josh said, they're throwing ham hocks. There's tables breaking. There's fucking violence everywhere.
Well, you said they're throwing ham hocks. I love it.
I mean, they were, man. Those pits were like, oh.
Oh, it's fantastic. Fucking the Fiend pulls out a fucking mallet at one point.
Yeah. Well, he had that mallet back in Hell in a Cell.
No, I know. I just thought it was really cool that he pulled it out.
I thought it was weird that they acted like they had never seen it before.
I get that. But it also tied in because they had literally just shown Alexa.
Yeah.
All Harley Quinned out. And then they pull out this mallet.
Yep.
Essentially a squared off Harley Quinn mallet is essentially what it is. Yeah.
Now,
I loved it, but still.
One of the big notes I had about this match, this felt more like a Falls Count Anywhere match than the actual Falls Count Anywhere match that took place at SummerSlam a week ago.
Fair enough.
And then, like Josh said, in the final 3 minutes of the match, not even, it was actually, it was 3 minutes left in the match. All of a sudden you hear the
Oh, no. You're jumping the gun here, sir. Because a big thing happens right before that.
Oh, I'm
and
sorry.
First off,
You're
we
right.
got Chad over here. He says, I don't like Bliss's involvement in this angle. It should just be about Bray and Strowman. First off, John, before we get into what happened next in the match, what are your thoughts on that?
I absolutely agree, but we all know that Bliss is going to... Honestly, I think they're going to swerve everybody. Bray Wyatt, without trying to go too much into the future of what happened, because I know we're not going to cover it much anyway. On SmackDown, Bray Wyatt revealed that he is going to add a new member to the Firefly Funhouse. And everybody knows it's going to be Alexa Bliss. But, follow me here for a second. What if it's not? What if that's what they want you to think? And really, what you're seeing is what has already played out 3 times beforehand. What if Alexa Bliss reverted back to her old angle like Daniel Bryan, The Fiend, and The Miz, and really Nikki Cross is going to be the one who turns and joins Bray Wyatt?
I kind of would dig that. Yeah.
Follow me. Listen here. This is the Firefly guy. Yowie wowie. Now back to the match, because I know exactly what you're talking about, and yes, I did skip over it. And I'm sorry.
So, throughout this whole match, it was a hell of a match. They're taking it to each other, and then Braun Strowman goes up, who tries to go up to the top rope, and they make a big deal about it, talking about it, because he's this big dude, going up to the top rope, and he pretty much gets up there, and then Bray hops up there, and then big old freaking slam, and the ring collapses. And what happened to?
Little Nate goes flying out of the ring.
Oh my God. I did not realize that that's who the ref was, but I did see the ref go flying out of the ring. Now, and it was fucking hilarious.
Here's the part of this, and I'm gonna pick up from that, and I'm gonna continue on for you, because this is what made me laugh about it. You could tell that that spot about, I'll cover that in one sec. So the ring goes down, and he stumbles, and he tried to catch himself, and he fell, which tells me he wasn't originally supposed to go down as hard as he did.
Oh, probably not.
Supposed to catch the ropes and guide himself, but then, like I said, and here comes Roman.
That's
Signs
right.
the contract on the entranceway. He proceeds to get in the ring. He goes for the win. Realizes that there's no ref, and I love that they audibly have him scream, "Paul, get a ref!"
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Ref gets in the ring. He goes for the pin count on Bray twice.
Man.
Goes for
nothing.
Roman, goes for Braun. Doesn't get it, and that's when he's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go for the Superman punch."
Well, no, he grabs a chair first.
Oh, you're right. He does. He gets out and goes for the chair, and he carefully does it, and Bray gets back in the ring too,
and then gets mandible clawed by.
Yeah. But this is where I noticed something that made me laugh.
For 2 seconds, though, by the way.
He breaks the mandible claw. Bray falls off one side of the ring, which was supposed to happen. And then he tripped over the ropes himself and fell.
Yeah.
And he hit the cameraman. And I was like, nobody's safe in this match.
Well, anyone, think of the poor refs. I got you, Chad.
All right.
I got you.
To address the Nikki Cross thing really quick before we talk about the rest of this match and stuff. I love Nikki Cross. I really wish they'd have let her keep the Twisted Sister gimmick specifically over what they did with prettying her up and make her tag with Alexa Bliss. Because I loved...
She became nondescript.
Yeah. I mean, she literally became every other woman on the roster when I loved her backstage, and she would just be rocking back and forth. She's like...
Which is why I love the Riot Squad, because they're so different from all of the other women wrestlers.
But you know what's really cool about the Riot Squad, though, is that they had 3 members, and each of them had their own identity.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Nikki Cross, she was a member of Sanity, and she had that crazy side of her. Let Nikki play. And I'm just like, yeah. And then they literally were like, listen, Nikki, you're fat, you're ugly, nobody wants to see this crazy bitch. So
it's what they did with Mickie James.
I know.
You know what I mean? Mickie James was doing the crazy stalker gimmick, and she gained weight, and they did the same fucking thing to her.
I agree with Chad. She was best as part of Sanity.
Yep.
All right. So now let's finish talking about this pay-per-view. So obviously, Roman Reigns picks up the win. Now, Josh, how does that make you feel? Roman Reigns is now the Universal Champion.
I actually am totally okay with that. I've loved what it's only been a short amount of time since he's been back, but I've loved his new attitude. And now him being paired up with Paul Heyman, dude.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I can't wait. Let's see. Joe says, I'm touching on John's point. What if she could be Sister Abigail? Like John mentioned, there could be a switch making us think it's Alexa. They've been trying to I think, make us think that it's Alexa just in general, you know, with the whole, you know, the vision from the swamp fight and everything. And then what's just in general going on with her. So I think that would actually be awesome. I really want there to be a Sister Abigail somewhere that eventually shows up, you know.
Well, now what if they did? That. What if they did something for Sister Abigail like Bray Wyatt does for the Fiend? Bray Wyatt is the Fiend.
Yes,
two separate entities.
I'd be okay with that.
What if Nikki Cross was Nikki Cross, but had another personality that was Sister Abigail?
I think that would be
whichever one they go for.
Either way, I think that would actually be the perfect way to go about it. Yeah,
she get her own fucking mask,
dude. Like maybe Nikki Cross is having a match or something. She's out there doing her thing. Maybe Nikki Cross is having a match with Alexa Bliss. Like they're fighting, like because of the whole thing. Maybe Nikki's like trying to get her back to who she used to be, and so like this is going on, and then the lights go out, like all Fiend style.
Yeah.
But when they come on, Nikki has a fucking mask on.
Dude, that was just badass.
Just destroys Alexa.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So now let's talk about our favorite part of the night. We know Roman Reigns has the championship.
Yes.
The night comes to an end. So now that we have a live audience, this is actually going to be kind of fun. We're going to talk about our favorite part of the night.
Yes.
So
and actually, we'd love for you guys to chime in too when we are talking about what are yours. We are doing worst match, best match, MVP, and moment of the night. So get yours submitted into the comments so we can take a look and we'll talk about them here on there.
Josh, let's talk about MVP of the night, shall we?
Okay, go ahead. I'm still not sure, so I'm gonna let you.
You're not sure about your MVP of the night? Well, let me tell you about mine, and I'm going to persuade you into joining my decision.
Okay,
sir and gentlemen watching, I submit for your approval Charles Robinson for MVP of the night.
Okay.
First off, there are ref bumps in a lot of matches throughout history, but none as great as what Charles Robinson took here at Payback. He not only bumped out of the ring, he took a hard fall out of the ring.
Yeah.
He made that shit look phenomenal. And I mean, for one, it's Little Nate. He's a senior official. Senior officials don't typically take bumps.
They're true.
Really, like, obscured from all of that. And not to mention, he made it look seamless.
It's true. It's true. You know what? Dude, I think that's a damn good choice. You got my vote. You got my vote. You have got my vote. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Moment of the night.
Moment of the night. Now, see, this one I definitely have a answer for, and I felt like there was literally only one, and that was that fucking ring collapse.
That is absolutely what I chose for my moment of the night, was the ring breaking.
100% for me. That's what it was. Yeah. Let's see. What did Chad say here? My favorite part was where retribution was not used at all, and now seems to not matter. Whoopsie. Yeah, I don't understand why they didn't come out at all, but they could have done something.
Major storylines that they had involved themselves in were on this match card, except for the main event.
Yeah, but you want to keep them relevant. You know what I mean?
You do want to keep them relevant, but at the same time, having them interfere in an already bogged down main event.
Maybe not. I'm not saying they had to be in the main event. I'm just saying they were nowhere on the show.
True.
They could have been out back destroying something. You know what I mean? They didn't have to be interfering in a match.
That's true.
There's just, they weren't there at all. And it seemed like a lost opportunity. Yeah, I do agree with that. But yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that ring collapse, man.
I ask for your opinion. Worst match
of
the night.
Worst match of the night was actually pretty easy for me. And that was the Corbin and Riddle match.
Ooh, we had a difference of opinion then.
This match, it was, first off, it was lackluster. And the ending, to me, was not believable because of how weak they made Riddle look throughout the whole thing.
They were part of the Big E Sheamus match.
Or probably the feud. Were they part of that feud? Okay. See, then they could have came out, and done something there even after the match was over. But, anyways, so John, what was yours?
I honestly
worst
chose
match?
Bobby Lashley versus Apollo Crews.
Okay, that was my second. Like, I when I was kind of going between them, like up until the Corbin match, it was gonna be that one. And then that Corbin match happened, and I was like, yeah, nah, this is the one.
I liked that at least. I know that there was a little bit of like a one-sidedness to that match, but I was still just kind of like, that one didn't sat as well on me.
Yeah, no, I get that. So we got some more Retribution talk here in the comments here. Joe says opinions on who might be in Retribution or their agenda. I think, I'll be honest, I think Tyler Breeze is one of them. Because I swear that I heard him talking in one of them. Like, he was close to the camera and talking. I also swore a few weeks back that I heard Dolph Ziggler. Other than that, I'll be honest, I have no idea. It's probably a lot of NXT people.
Probably.
I wouldn't be shocked. And we talked about this before. The people who have been coming out may not even be the people who are going to be revealed as Retribution. They may just be, okay, you, here, wear black, throw this hood on, or throw this mask on. Okay, you're going to just go out and do some stuff. But I don't even, I wonder if WWE even knows who they're going to make be the final members of Retribution. You know what I mean?
It makes you wonder.
Yeah. Chad said it was their action that drives their current rivalry. Oh, for talking about Big E and Sheamus, but WWE forgot to book that part. Hey, I guess shit happens. I think they probably didn't want to overshadow Big E's push because they're starting a push with Big E. So it wouldn't surprise me if they just didn't want to overshadow that, to be honest with you. Let's see what Chad say. He said they should bring back at least one person they fired. So, John, okay, if they were going to bring back someone that they had fired, who would you want to be that person to go into Retribution?
Curtis Axel.
Ooh, I like it. I like that. I think that would actually be pretty interesting.
I mean, there's a bunch of other guys that I would like to be, but a lot of them are currently signing other talent to other places.
Yeah,
and I know that getting them back at this point is probably I would love to bring back Zack Ryder, but I mean, obviously that's not happening.
I was kind of thinking maybe like the Colognes.
Yeah,
because they got rid of both Epico and Primo. Something like that could be neat. I don't know. I'd be down for it. But yeah, we'll see. I guess when the time eventually comes to do that. And do you think that Retribution has anything to do with the SmackDown hacker?
Who knows?
They could tie that in. Trying to destroy it from that way, and maybe that didn't work. So now we're just taking it straight to them. You know what I mean? You never know. All right. So now on to the best match of the night, Johnny boy. What's your best match of the night?
For me, I picked the Universal title match. I love that it told a really great story. They had the last minute jump in from Roman Reigns. I love that they pulled the fucking rug out on everybody and gave the title back to Roman. I mean, this match had me on the edge of my seat the whole time.
Yeah. I was torn between two matches. This was one of them, but it's not the one that I settled on in the end. I went with the tag match, Seth and Murphy versus Dominic and Ray. I loved that match. I thought it was fantastic. I thought all of them did such a good job. And like I said, I've really liked watching this whole arc, I guess you could say, this whole storyline just kind of play out. And so that's where I went with it. I thought it was that one.
That's fair.
So with all of that in mind, John, out of 5 boots, what would you give WWE Payback 2020?
Well, I mean, the last 2 matches definitely helped pick up the grade a little bit, but I'm going to have to say it's going to be about a 3.5 boots.
I'll be honest. I almost gave it a 3. I was pretty much settled on a 3 until the last 2 matches, and then those last 2 matches really kind of like they ended really strong, you know.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna bump it to a 3.5. So yeah, definitely 3.5 boots for me, 3.5 boots from John. So that is a nice off the ropes average of 3.5 boots. Don't even have to do any math there.
Nope.
Good
So
stuff.
now,
Good stuff.
we're going to shift from the pay-per-view to Monday night. Now, Josh was calling this segment Raw Talk. He was completely stealing it from the WWE. And we realized we can't have that shit.
Let's make it our own. Let's make it our own.
Decided no more Raw Talk. We are going Raw, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right. Going Raw, baby.
The way Josh and I know how to go is going Raw.
Oh, damn, it's so true.
So
all
now,
right, Johnny boy.
Spend a lot of time going over a lot of this shit or the backstage segments. I'm going to talk about a lot of the business, the meat and potatoes of what happened on Raw. And it opens with Keith Lee versus Dolph Ziggler. Now, I'm like, okay, let's just feed all the wolves to fucking Keith Lee at this point. I mean, who's sacred? I mean, not Dolph Ziggler, not a guy who's literally carried every person on his back for 10 years, not the guy who doesn't get a title push anymore. No, fuck that. I mean, what's Dolph Ziggler done for this company lately?
Nothing.
He looked on his face, not surprised. Obviously, Keith Lee picks up the win. I mean,
yeah, I feel like if they hadn't given Keith Lee the win, that would kind of...
Oh, dude, it would bury him instantly. But do we really have to put him up against Ziggler already?
I mean, I guess.
So Joe has a good point over here.
I hope they give Aleister Black a good push. He's still badass. One of my faves. You know what? I agree. I like Aleister Black quite a bit. And yeah, I hope that hope he gets some sort of good push going on, man.
Now I was really impressed with the next part of Raw. Asuka comes out. She's talking about being the champion, and she opens up a challenge. And who comes out but none other than Mickie James?
Yes.
So Mickey's talking to her, and they're having a nice little conversation between the two of them. And then Lana and Natalya come out together. And I'm like, first off, where the fuck has Lana been for months? Like, I haven't seen her since WrestleMania either.
Hanging out on her Twitter page or Instagram or some shit, probably. I don't know.
And I'm like, and Natty's running her mouth off about how Mickie James has had all these title opportunities. I'm like, bitch, first off, calm your shit. Okay?
I hate this version of heel Natty. I'm just not a fan.
I don't think Natalya should ever be a heel unless they're going to make her like a Beth Phoenix heel.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking tear through you and beat the fuck out of you.
Yeah. And
I'm like, well, we all know where this is going. And then, of course, all hell breaks loose in the ring. And then Mickie James and Asuka are the last two standing. And I'm like, nope, here we go. We're going to get a tag team match. And I was wrong. Instead, we get on one-on-one between Mickie James and Lana. I'm just like, oh.
It's like, who cares?
I'm not going to lie. I took a piss break during this match. Not because I have a hatred for either one of these two women. Anybody who knows me...
Because you love Mickie James, man. You are a Mickie James mark all day.
Absolutely. I was just at the point where I'm like, I'm like, what are we really getting to this?
I just don't care about Lana, like, at all.
She absolutely could have been, though.
Joe misses himself some Sarah Logan.
Hey, Liv Morgan is my girl. You get the fuck off my Kool-Aid, motherfucker. So,
with Lana, yeah, she probably was on lockdown. Yeah, you're right. Probably. I forgot that Rusev was one of the ones with the COVID thing. Yeah. So that's actually probably exactly right.
Now, after Mickie picks up the win during her match, Orton versus Kevin Owens, and I was really impressed with what they do here. So Orton, before the match, comes out of Aleister Black's locker room, and I'm like, oh, well, we know where this is going. And it went down differently than I expected, and that was actually kind of cool. So Orton comes out first. He's in the ring. out comes Kevin Owens, and he's coming down to the ringside, and Aleister Black comes out of nowhere and attacks him before he even gets in the ring. And I'm like, oh shit. Okay, well they're gonna have him get his ass kicked. They're not even gonna start this match. And then he gets in the ring and begs the ref to start the match anyway. And gets like 3 good punches in on Orton, and then out of nowhere, RKO. Now, I've been hit with an RKO before, and it sucks. But Kevin Owens made it look like he just fucking died in the ring.
Dude, legit.
And then,
I like Kevin Owens, especially lately. I think I've really liked his character a lot more lately. So
I agree. Then out comes the Hurt Business, and they're going to do the MVP Lounge. And I'm like, oh, I'm tired of this shit. I'm like, the Hurt Business is just so dumb. And they introduced the new United States champion, Bobby Lashley. Could you believe it? I mean, if you didn't watch Payback, you're like, oh shit, Lashley has the strap. I like this. This is what I like.
Well, we're glad you like it, Chad.
Nice to hear your opinion, Chad.
If you like it so much, leave a damn voice message on Anchor sometime.
So now I'm taken back by the fact that like the Hurt Business is like, well, here's the new United States champion. Let us tell you something about this. Oh my God, he's the greatest United States champion ever. And I'm like, it's fucking Bobby Lashley. Like, the only great thing about Bobby Lashley is the end of his match when he walks to the locker room.
Yeah, you know.
So out comes Cedric Alexander, and that ain't gonna happen though. They're all heels.
Yeah, well, you know, I've seen heels fight heels. Come on, man.
Oh, dude, we've all seen heel versus heel. I mean, but I thought it was really cool that Cedric Alexander.
You need to talk to your friend. He's not going to leave no voice message. That's it.
Son of a bitch.
Anyways, yeah, Cedric Alexander.
Yeah, Cedric comes out, and they're like, "Oh, you want to start something? You want to start something?" He's like, "Well, I didn't come alone." And
yeah,
the Viking Raiders attack from behind, and I'm just like, "Oh hell yeah!" Like Viking Raiders, and that of course starts a 3-on-3 tag match. Yeah. And I mean, I was just kind of like, I mean, at this point,
Johnny not a fan apparently.
It's not that I'm not a fan. I know what they're doing with the Hurt Business. The Hurt Business is a legit heel faction. They're trying to make them like statement certified. Like, hey, this is who we are. Like, oh my God, we are the legit guys. Like, fear us. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm like, I can't take them seriously. Like, MVP is legit badass on the mic. He starts talking, and I'm like, all right. Shelton Benjamin's not horrible on the mic, but he's got years of experience. And then only one of them is going to do good in the underground.
Well, that's just because I'll fight dirty. That's all.
Yes, we'll fight a man.
I'll fight a man.
But then I'm like, the moment Lashley starts talking, I'm like, all legitimacy that they are working with these guys is just gone. Yeah. Like, I'm like, fuck that. I was really glad Hurt Business lost the match because it doesn't really hurt their momentum at this point, but
it doesn't hurt their business.
It doesn't. So the next match, this kind of saddened me. It was the Iconics taking on the Riot Squad. And the deal with this match was the winning tag team is going to get a #1 contender spot for the tag team champions. And the losing team was going to have to split for good. And I'm sad to say,
I was okay with that.
The Iconics.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'll be honest. I've never really cared that much about them. I don't think Billy Kay's that good of a wrestler, and I don't really care that much about Peyton Royce. Peyton Royce she's cute, but I just don't really care about her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like she's a bad wrestler. I literally have no care about her as a wrestler. I just don't. I don't know. But I love the Riot Squad, so works for me.
So then we got Seth Rollins taking on Dominic.
Let's see. John, touching on your point earlier, the only good thing about Bobby Lashley is that he got rid of that stupid headband. Dude, so true. That headband was ridiculous. Ridiculous. Oh, and I missed this one. Can we pretend that Underground does not exist? I feel like Underground has lately, like, it started off kind of neat. It was, kind of interesting, but it's just turned into the Hurt Business show off time.
Kind of.
That's fucking all it's been the last few weeks.
They were like, oh man, how the hell do we book the Underground? Just have the Hurt Business go in there and take out everybody. Everybody. Yeah.
It's like, I understand, like, Bobby Lashley loses a match, he's going to go there, he can blow off some steam. Motherfucker just fucking won the title. Like, go fuck yourself. You know what I mean? Like, shut up. Like, I don't know. They could have done something really. They could have done something really cool with Underground.
They could have,
and they're just wasting it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyways. So like I said, then we saw Seth Rollins taking on Dominic, and Seth Rollins tells off Murphy and tells him to go backstage, and as Murphy's walking up the ramp, he's walking up backwards, and Dominic attacks him from behind, which I thought was actually kind of funny. And this match was actually really good between Dominic and Dominic and Rollins. I was like, fuck yeah. And then, of course, Rollins picks up the win. No, Underground, no. The Underground is like, no, they're not living in the Attitude Era. They just don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Fair enough.
And honestly, I thought it was going to be the launching pad of Titus Worldwide too, until they got the living shit kicked out of them. And
yeah, I mean, they could have really done something with him.
And then the package that I watched for my highlights for Raw ended with the Underground segment, but I think there was still more of Raw after that.
Okay. Yeah,
but mine literally cut off, and I couldn't find another good one. So I was like, fuck it.
Fair enough. So now I guess it's time to move on to some SmackDown, huh?
SmackDown.
Smack Talk.
Smack Talk.
So, John, what do we got going on in SmackDown universe?
Well, again, I'm not going to really get into too much, but the meat and potatoes, it's on brand.
Why's it got to be meat and potatoes? Why can't it be vegetables and cheese? I don't know.
It'll be tofu and crackers, Josh.
Now you just are making me want to reach through the screen and punch you.
So we opened up with Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman in the ring, cutting a promo about how Roman now has the championship and how he's the king.
He's the king and the big dog.
Now, the first match of the night saw Heavy Machinery taking on The Miz and Morrison. And I'm like, okay, sure. It's kind of really good to see Heavy Machinery back as a tag team.
Yeah.
Because I know Tucker was out with an injury for a while, and I was like, that sucks. So what I thought was really funny about this match is that this match went exactly how I expected it to. Miz and Morrison pulling out some shit here and there, but Heavy Machinery doing most of the heavy work to make it look like they're on this like train to like stardom. Where out of nowhere, John Morrison grabs the Money in the Bank briefcase and runs away. And I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, well, that's funny. And I don't have it in my notes where it happens exactly. But there's a moment in the night where they're backstage and Tucker and Otis are talking, and he's like, hey, man, I'm really sorry they ran off with the Money in the Bank. And, they got your contract. And he's like, nah, they don't have the contract. I keep that in this little lunchbox. And he opens up this lunchbox, and there's the contract. And Tucker goes, well, if the contract's in there, what was in the briefcase? And they cut, and they go to Miz and Morrison, and then he's like, yeah, man, let's open this thing up and catch it. And he, like, opens it, and there's, like, a stapler, and there's a sandwich. And it was fucking hilarious.
Oh, that's awesome.
Now,
that's great.
Next match of the night, we saw Sheamus attack. Well, it wasn't a match. It was a celebration in the back because Xavier Woods was coming back to television tonight. And he picks up the cake, and he goes to find Xavier. And as he rounds a corner, he gets blindsided by Sheamus, who beats him down, slams him into like one of those big roll-up doorways, and then proceeds to throw him onto the hood of a car gets a few good punches in. Sheamus climbs up on the car and then does the muscle buster into the fucking windshield.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
It looked sick. And I was like, holy shit on the deliverance. And Big E's like, and I'm like, okay. And then I found out it's not a fucking stop. Big E is now hurt.
Oh.
All 3 members of the New Day are currently on the inactive list.
Did they say what happened? Like what kind of injury?
No. They played it off on screen where Big E was hurt, and then it was actually said after the show ended that he was legit hurt.
Did he get hurt during that, or was it from Payback?
Nope, he got hurt during the attack.
Oh,
somewhere during the little attack. So, next match of the night, though, saw a return match from Payback. And it was Bayley and Sasha Banks taking on, what do you call them? Jaysler?
Oh, yeah. Jaysler, yeah.
We're going with that team. Jaysler. Now, this was the rematch for the tag team titles, mind you. And this match went exactly how I expected it to.
Okay.
Shitty.
Really?
Now, the match of Payback, I was like, yes.
Yeah, that was a good match.
Capitalize on that during SmackDown. And, so I promised Josh I was going to be a dick about it. But I got to make this one comment. There was this point during the match in SmackDown where Bayley's on the floor and Nia Jax is on the ring apron, and Sasha Banks hits like a drop kick or a punch or something, and Bayley fucking power bombs her to the floor, and she just shakes. Like, she shakes. And I was like, that would be me.
That'd be me too. I would shake like a bowl full of jelly.
The other note I have here, and I want, now that we actually have like a live discussion going here, because other people can touch in. What do you think on the fact that Sasha Banks and Bayley, until the end of this match anyway, were the WWE's answer to the Best Friends?
Interesting. Yeah.
But then, yes, the match ends. Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax pick up the win. They retain their titles. And Sasha Banks is milking this leg injury that happens during the match. And officials come out to check on her, and then Bayley pushes them back, and it looks like she's going to help. And
let me ask you a question. How did the match end? Because I didn't
honestly remember.
Okay. Because I know
it ended in a submission.
I know who lost the match?
Sasha.
Sasha lost the match. Okay. Continue.
And then they do like a Bret Hart, Owen Hart turn where Bayley would essentially be Owen. Kicks the bad leg out, wraps her leg into the steps. She attacked her good. And so Bayley's going to go super heel, and I'm going to guess we're going to get a face Bayley.
Sasha, you mean?
Or a face Sasha, yeah.
So essentially what they're doing is Bayley, who is still the women's champ, one of the women's champs, is essentially like, you couldn't hold on to your titles, and then you cost us this match, and it's probably blaming the Payback loss on her too. Yep. And that's because like I wondered if I'll be honest, I kept thinking it was going to be Sasha who was going to turn.
I thought so too, but that's where they're kind of trying to like tilt the scales right now.
They're not comparable. Bayley and Sasha were champs, and then and in relevant stories, it's true. But so yeah,
next match of the night wasn't really a match, but it was kind of entertaining. A familiar theme song goes off throughout the ThunderDome, the WWE ThunderDome, and out comes Sami Zayn. And what is Sami Zayn carrying with him? But nothing but an Intercontinental Championship. He gets up in the ring, and they introduce him as Sami Zayn. And now he turns to the ring announcer and he goes, "Do you not see this? Why are you not introducing me as the WWE Intercontinental Champion?" And he goes, "I'm not supposed to."
Because, bitch, you're not the Intercontinental Champion.
But Sami Zayn never technically gave up his championship. I mean, he did. He relinquished it. But in his mind, he didn't.
he never lost his title. That's
Yeah.
he never lost a match in order to lose his title. Yeah.
So,
which we've seen that storyline happen all the time. I mean, hell, Roman was essentially saying the same thing, but he wasn't just gonna try to claim he's still the champ. He went out and got the fucking title.
So while all this is going on, Jeff Hardy comes out with his Intercontinental Championships and his brand new side plates. And he gets up in the ring and he starts mouthing off at, Sami Zayn, talking about how he is the Intercontinental Champion. And if Sami wants to back it up, he can. And then out comes who else but none other than AJ Styles.
Nice.
Who also claims that he should be the Intercontinental Champion still right now. So I have a feeling we're going to get a really good match because I think the three of them will work really well together.
So are we assuming a triple threat at Clash of Champions?
That's what I'm going to assume.
Okay.
And then the main event saw a fatal four-way for a number one contender spot at the Universal Championship. And it was Matt Riddle taking on Baron Corbin, taking on Sheamus, and taking on what was originally supposed to be Big E, but Big E was hurt and replaced by none other than a returning Jey Uso.
Nice.
I say ooh, you say so. Ooh.
So. Yeah, so is right.
That's where we go from here. And there was a promo before this where Jay was in the back talking to Roman. And he was like, I know we're cousins and all, but that's not going to stop me from going out there and trying to, win this match and be something. And, I mean, fate would have it, SmackDown ends with Jey Uso picking up the win. So he now will be taking
So Jey Uso is going to be facing off for the title now.
Yeah, against his cousin.
Wow.
Roman Reigns.
That's quite a push, man. Like that's a big deal.
Considering Jimmy's still injured.
Yeah, that's a huge deal.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Now, here's my only question for you. Jimmy and Jay have one thing in the business that WWE likes to mess with once in a while. And I'm going to refer to it in the term that they have used it before with another relevant tag team, happen to be the Bellas. Do you think they will pull out some twin magic and pull something and maybe try to take the title from their cousin?
It would be kind of hilarious, to be totally honest with you. I wouldn't be against it, depending on how they do it.
Now, I will say this. This is how I booked this match. I book in favor of Jimmy looking strong, not over strong.
Yeah.
But I want to see him kick Roman Reigns right in the face.
Yeah. I want to see a good match. I don't want it just to be a fucking squash.
I agree. I completely agree.
Yeah.
Now, that's all I have for Smack Talk and Going Raw. But, ladies and gentlemen, I want to hear your thoughts for a few minutes. I'm going to give you guys 15 minutes to ask us questions before we end this for the night. And we will take any questions, concerns, storyline ideas. I want to hear what you guys have to say since we actually have you here.
Ooh, okay. So Joe put up one last comment. You both living or dead, which legend would you choose to go up against and what kind of match? If you have a top 3 choice, that's fine too.
Mine's never changed. Mine's always been the same.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Now, this is if I'm reading this right, it's what legend would you choose to go up against? So So my legend is Raven. And I mean, absolutely. I've always wanted to fight Raven in a one-on-one. I would take Raven on in either a Clockwork Orange match or just some kind of straight out hardcore match in general. But I want Raven in his prime. Like I want like 90s, early 2000s Raven. Back when he was like actually able to carry a match and work. I think personally, knowing what I could do back in the backyard and a little bit of time I spent in the ring, I could have made Raven look good as well as take his punishment.
All right.
Josh, what about you?
So my match, because I have 2 choices for people. My match would be the same for both. It's a ladder match because I love that kind of shit. And I would go with either. These are 2 of my favorites: Ricky Steamboat, Rey Mysterio.
That's so
either one.
Why don't you tell your infamous ladder story from Nightmare in the Sticks?
Gee, is that from Nightmare? Which one was that?
That was where you decided to change your ladder spot on the fly.
Oh, that one. Okay. Oh my God. So
and
we're
yes,
doing this.
Chad, I do miss you.
We're doing this match, and in our company, CBW, Championship Backyard Wrestling, I was, of the three of us, I was always known as like the high flyer. I would take the high spot bumps and things like that. I would take the risks, the high risk stuff. So we had this 8-foot ladder, and I was supposed to, if I'm not mistaken, it was a leg drop I was supposed to do from the top of this ladder.
The very top.
Yeah, and I get up there, no problem. I'm not afraid of heights or anything like that. And I've done spots like this plenty of times up to this point. But the ground is so uneven because we didn't have like a traditional ring. We had ropes and posts, but it was still grass. And so the ground was so uneven where the ladder was placed, and I was already up there, that it was starting to wobble. And I was like, I did not feel safe with this. So on the fly, I changed up and went for a body splash. And as I jumped, the ladder kicked out, and I landed here on John, like me here on John. And I thought I had broke my back. Luckily I did not. No lasting damage or anything, but it was the one time where I thought I was never going to walk again. Be totally honest with you, it was scary, but it was exhilarating nonetheless. I'll be honest, the ladder spot that I thought you were going for was the triple moonsault.
Any thoughts on AEW? Chad, I don't watch AEW highlights right away like I should.
Speaking of AEW, AEW All On was tonight. We'll probably the next time we have a show probably mention that a bit. It might be a couple weeks, guys. Just so you know.
Yeah, we got kind of bogged with wrestling over the last couple weeks. So
and I will be doing a live stream on my other channel, DC Comics News, next weekend. 24 hours live stream for DC Fandom for the second day of DC Fandom. It's going to be. We'll see if I make it through. It's going to be a good time. Yeah. So, John, what is something that you are looking forward to at this next pay-per-view? They've announced 2 matches so far for Clash of Champions. Obviously, this Roman Reigns Jey Uso match for the Universal title. They also have announced Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. So what are you looking forward for that? Anything that you'd like to see?
I'm hoping we're going to get a ladder match between AJ, Sammy, and Jeff.
Yeah.
Both IC titles hanging above the ring.
That would be pretty sweet, man.
Very reminiscent of Razor Ramon, Shawn Michaels.
Yeah. I dig that. Yeah, I hope that because I'm assuming Clash is really their what used to be Night of Champions and whatnot, and they're going to have all of their titles being represented. I would hope that would be the time to do it. And so I'll be honest, I'm just excited to actually see some of these titles that we never get to see, almost never get to see. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
especially the tag titles,
like that IC title. Fuck. Last we rarely see that on pay-per-views anymore. Yeah, the tag titles. I mean, just all that stuff. I'm actually pretty excited for what they're going to do, and I wonder if they'll have an NXT title match.
That could be
on there. All right, so Joe says, if I was a wrestler and I could choose a match versus Legend, I would go with either Ric Flair, Undertaker, or Sting in a street fight. That's an interesting choice. A street fight. Undertaker in a street fight would be fascinating, especially if it was like Undertaker in his prime.
Oh, God, yeah.
Dude.
I'm assuming most of the time when people are like, I would pick somebody, I'm assuming it would be in their prime because you don't want to fight.
I want to fight an 80-year-old man. Yeah,
I want to fight Ric Flair in his last days in the company before Muggles kicked him in the face and cried like a bitch.
Oh, damn. You want to be the one who kicks him in the face and makes him cry.
Oh, God.
Like
damn,
a bitch.
if I could go back to the 22-year-old me handing out super kicks and meet Ric Flair, I would kick him and make him go, yeah.
Oh, man.
The part is, he would get kicked here and bleed from here for 3 days.
He would, man. His skin was so thin. It's like freaking just like sneezing into like a fucking 99-cent box of tissue from a 99-cent box of tissues. Just blows right through that shit.
So while we have a live audience for the moment, is there anything you guys want to hear us talk about more of besides like New Japan and stuff like that? Like, are there things like you want to see us mix in? Is there something we're not doing well? Give us some insight into how we can make Off the Ropes better for you.
Oh, you know something that I just realized that we never mentioned?
No.
We never mentioned that that WWE is promoted fucking indie stuff.
Oh,
we skipped right, like I had it in my notes, and then we skipped right over it because we were talking about something else. That they have Evolve, Progress, WXW, which is West Side Extreme Wrestling, and ICW Fight Club, which is Insane Championship Wrestling, all available on demand on the WWE Network now.
I'm pretty sure it's because most of their people who work through them, they just butt out those catalogs, like I said. But overall, though, I think it's really cool that there are indie shows on there now.
I think that's really fucking cool, man. Branching out and showing some of this talent that they have when they were just starting out and shit. When I don't know. I think it's really cool. I really like that, the idea of that, and I hope they're able to do some more stuff. You know how cool it would be if all of a sudden, fucking was it WSX? Remember that? If all of a sudden that wound up on there, that'd be fucking cool as shit, man.
Chad says Progress has some great shows.
There we go. I'll have to definitely be checking out what they have available for these indie shows on there. I'm pretty excited to check all that out because I love indie stuff.
I've been
especially just seeing old indie stuff with like wrestlers that we know.
Oh yeah.
Now and seeing their old stuff, I love that.
Well, it's weird because I've been in a weird state for wrestling. I've been watching a lot of early 2000s WWE, WCW. I've been going back and just watching some pay-per-views and like getting some ideas in my head for some crazy shit. And at the same time, just kind of in my head grading pay-per-views, getting used to that process.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, man, but some of the shit, especially with like Vince Russo first jumped from WWE to WCW, I'm like, God damn, you can see the fucking shift in differentials.
Yeah.
To mock John Moxley, there was a real paradigm shift.
Fair enough. So something I think I forgot to talk about last week. I finally watched Money Plane, which is the new movie starring Edge, and I gotta say, I dug it. It could have been a little bit better. I think it was a little rushed toward the end, but I had a good time with it. It was an entertaining watch. I don't know if any of you guys who are watching right now have seen Money Plane. If so, I'd love to hear your thoughts. If not, you should check it out. It's got Edge in it. He's like the main star. And he doesn't get it. I got it. I rented it at Redbox. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere. I just went to Redbox and rented it for $1.80. Because Redbox is cheap and I love it. I still watch DVDs and shit. In this age of streaming, I'm one of those people who still go to Redbox and rent shit.
That's fair. All right, gentlemen, are there any other questions for Off the Ropes while you got us here?
I'll give you a couple more minutes, John. What's been going on in your world that's been keeping you rocking and rolling?
Well, I've been doing research into my next topic of discussion on Simply Sane with Jay, the Not Your Mama's podcast, which is, right here. You can check me out at Simply Sane J1 on Twitter, which, yes, I am back on Twitter, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, I've been doing research.
He's a twatter. Yeah. Any you want to give any sort of hint? Any sort of tease?
No.
Fair enough.
I'm like, do I? And then I'm like, no.
No, you don't. You just don't want to. And I mean, it's understandable, I suppose. But yeah, all right.
I
Well,
mean, I guess I could go with a little teaser and just tell you I learned Kung Fu.
I like it. All right. Well, looks like it's gonna probably wrap things up here. John, let everybody know where they can find you.
Well, as I just said,
Do it officially.
you can find me on Twitter at SimplySayingJ1. I have a podcast called Simply Saying with Jay, the Not Your Mama's podcast. Give it a listen. I've got like 3 official episodes up. I'm about to record episode 4.
That shit is up on Anchor.
It is. It's on Anchor. It's on Spotify. If you got Spotify, it's available any place that podcasts are available at. I'm not as busy as this man over here. Josh, where can they find you, and what are you currently working on?
Whew, well, that's a big old question there. But you can find me on Twitter at JP Raynor. That's JPRAYNOR. And as you can see right there, you can also find me on Twitter at MovieBlogMerc. That is the official Twitter page for my website, Merc with a Movie Blog. I talk movies, have all kinds of podcasts and shit over there. So if you're interested in that, check out anchor.fm/movieblogmerc. And you can also search Merc with a Movie Blog on YouTube, where I talk about the Schmodown a lot over there. If you know what that is, the movie trivia contest. Chris Jericho just had a match with Kevin Smith on there. So go check that out. It's pretty fucking cool. And also DCComicsNews.com. I'm the editor-in-chief over there at DC Comics News on all the social medias. And on the YouTube channel next weekend on Saturday, I believe starting right around 1 o'clock Eastern time, I will be doing a 24-hour live stream for DC Fandom, just watching all the panels that I can. It's going to be a good time. Maybe John will pop in. Who knows? We'll see some point during the night. All right. So since that is it, I appreciate all you guys just hanging with us throughout the night, asking questions, leaving comments. Chad and Joe, it's been awesome. Thank you so much. This has been episode number 14 of Off the Ropes with John and Josh. I am Josh.
I'm always John.
And we are down for the count. Catch you next time.